Welcome to the Business Growth Spotlight, where we talk with business leaders who shine the light and share their expertise and wisdom so we can all grow together. I'm your host, Heidi Schalk, co-founder of HLH Growth Solutions. We help businesses scale revenue through outside-the-box visibility strategies. And today I'm excited to chat with Joe Gagnon with Raynmaker.ai or Raynmaker AI, who's going to share his expertise with us today. So welcome, Joe, to the show.
Heidi, thanks for having me on. Appreciate it.
Absolutely. So, Joe, can you kick us off and start us off with tell us a little bit about yourself, Rainmaker, and your role within the company?
Yeah, you know, my career predominantly is focused in tech space, the past 20 or 30 years focused on business transformation, leveraging technology from, when the World Wide Web was a thing and was new, all the way to today where we're sort of transforming business processes and the way business is run with AI. I'm the CEO of the company and co-founder, and we're leveraging AI into the sales process for small businesses. So effectively, a small business today, they'll go buy a lead from Google or Meta. They'll take that lead, they'll try and convert that lead into a sale and then deliver their service. Predominantly, we focus on home service related businesses. So it could be house cleaning, could be dog walking, it could be, lawn mowing, spraying for bugs, whatever sort of affects the house. That small business owner, as we all know, right? They have the American dream to run their small business, but it's hard. It's hard to know how to find customers. It's hard to know how to convert customers and then turn them into lifetime customers. And so our focus is to, because we're sales experts, is to build a sales workflow leveraging AI that uses lead management on the front end, which is to score the lead. We then route the lead to the best possible way to close it, make the offer, and then we take the sale, schedule the sale, and take the payment. And AI is really changing the game for us and for our small business customers.
Yeah. So you shared with me that or us that you've been in the space for a long time since
Mhm.
basically internet started. So what inspired you to start this company?
Yeah, I think that there's a couple of things. One, I think that the lifeblood of, American economy really is small business. There's 30 million small businesses in the United States. It ebbs and flows as to whether or not that's a good decision or not. This American dream to run a business and have a wonderful life has just not been paid attention to. We spent billions and trillions of dollars on large corporations, and we think that it really is important for us to now bring this next wave of technology, this, new capability to small businesses because, we don't want to leave them behind. And we feel strongly about sort of building a stronger fabric in the economy of the United States and leveraging tech to do that so that they can have access, in some sense, democratize access to amazing technology capability at a price point that they can afford. And so that's what gets me excited to help people live a better life, business-wise and personally. And this was a perfect opportunity to do that.
So now that you moved into this space, what are some of the challenges because you work with sales teams. So what are the challenges that you've seen in sales and how do you help them?
Oh my gosh, there's a lot. If you think about someone who goes into small business, whether it's a franchise or an independent, they often don't really fully understand what leads are, what they should pay for a lead, how to actually be able to score or rate that. And so on the front end, the top of the funnel, it's very hard to know. So they overspend and probably get less return than they want. The
Mhm.
second thing that they sometimes struggle with is how to make the offer. What should the offer be? What should the price be? What does the consumer want to buy? How do they think about it? So that matters. And then the third part about it is being able to do what very few people really like to do, which is ask for the order. Everyone says, "Oh, I don't want to be a salesperson. I don't like that." Well, the truth of the matter is people come to us and our small business customers to buy something. And so we just want to make sure they buy it. And so that means that we know where they are relative to the maturity of the qualification of that lead. We know that the offer is the right offer and we make it and we feel great about it. And, we improve conversion rates for our customers. We reduce the cost of leads and we make it more predictable. And that's what the tech stack really helps them do.
So you mentioned and you touched on, and I was in coaching, so I understand the whole don't want to be salesy type of mentality or mindset. And I get that. But at the end of the day, in order to stay in business, we need to bring in revenue, right?
Yeah.
That's the goal. And the whole goal of this podcast is what this podcast was formed because we heard the stat that 90% or a huge number, huge percentage of businesses fail within the first 5 years. And because they focus on other things and they need to be focused on revenue driving activities, which means sales.
Yeah.
So for those of the companies that are coming to you saying that what you just shared, we don't want to be salesy, right? But they know that they need to bring in revenue. Is that something mindset wise that you work on, or how do you move them through that mentality or that mindset into, okay, we're ready to take action?
I think that what we go back to is sort of like, why did they go into the business? They want to deliver the service or sell their product.
Mhm.
That's what they want to do. That's what they're passionate about. They want to spray for mosquitoes or clean your home. They want to mow your lawn or clean your windows. They know that they need customers to do that. But what they would love to have is a partner. Sometimes they hire someone, but it's not reliable and it's not expert and it doesn't really fully understand how sales happen. So what we want them to do is to see us as their business partner, sitting in the form of tech with data and analytics and AI and workflow so that we can actually give them predictability. So growth can happen because they have money to spend and there are customers who want to buy. The problem is when you're not precise about that, you throw a lot of money away and you miss opportunities. And so maybe you didn't answer the phone or get back to a web lead. Maybe the price was wrong. Maybe you didn't describe the offer well enough. Maybe you didn't even know if the customer wasn't qualified. And so the more that we can bring sort of a refined workflow that does this predictably, the more we can make grow predictably, right? Like it's like it isn't really that there isn't enough market. It's actually the effectiveness of the way that the process works in small businesses is not high. And it isn't salesy. This back to when we get a lead, that lead is someone who's demonstrated some interest. We want to make sure they're qualified. Do they have a budget? Do they have authority? Do they have the need? Do they have the timing? If we figure that out, we're very excited to make an offer to them because we think we're helping them. And so that empathy that we bring increases conversion rates and makes growth happen. And so there are some times where the owner might say, wow, we grew too much because we're so effective. But at the end of the day, we believe that this process can be automated. We can partner with the business owner and we can drive growth for them so they can deliver the service and we can take care of sales.
So for those companies who are listening and you work with your companies, like what is the aha moment or the timeline, or what should they be looking out for to go, I'm ready for this AI now, next step?
Yeah, I think that let's say that you're starting to get to a point where you can't get back to the people, the leads that are coming inbound. You know that there are more that you could actually go out and buy if you knew the right ones to do. You know that your offer could actually be improved. Like you have this feeling like I got through stage one of growth, I got established, I have some customers, they like me delivering the service, but now I don't know what it takes to go to the next step. Look, it's the same thing if you hired a nutritionist or a coach in the gym. You can go move weights and you can sort of eat right, but you need some expertise to take it to the next level. And so this is business owners who have gone sort of past that first piece of growth and want to continue to grow. And they know that, look, our price point is very easy for them to buy. It's $1,000 a month. That's it, all in. Service, support, sales. And so it makes it easy for them to buy. You couldn't hire a person for $12,000 a year, that's for sure. And now you have effectively a 24/7 sales team working on your behalf, making this happen. So it does happen after you've established yourself and know that your offer fits into your local market. From there forward, everyone's an opportunity for us.
Mm. So what would you say for companies that are like, launching brand new? And because you work with people
Yeah.
that are like, okay, I'm getting the leads in. What would you say for those companies that are starting to be like, okay, what are my first things I should be looking at? Because you've grown your business. Let's talk
Yeah.
about growth a little bit. How did you grow your business? What were the first things that you had to focus on in order to get to where you are now?
Well, I think it's always comes back to like what is your core competency as a business? And that's what you should focus on. Let's deliver on the best product that we have, building quality software, making sure it meets the requirements of the market. But, for example, we don't run a payroll system, right? We outsource that. We don't do all our accounting. We use QuickBooks for that. We haven't built an email system. We use MailChimp. So there are a lot of capabilities that you could do all of that if you wanted, but that's not your core. So we've been very good at staying focused on what we're really good at, which is building software in AI for sales for small businesses. And I think it's the same thing for our customers. It's staying focused on what you're really good at and finding partners that you can manage easily who align with your goals and objectives and help you execute better. That's what makes life easier. And if you do it, we're completely empathetic to the fact that it can sometimes be too expensive for a small business to do it, which is why our price point is where it is. We want to make this easy so it's an easy decision and can execute better. That's what technology really does and has done for a long time. It's reduced the cost, made it more accessible, and makes us more productive.
So how do you see AI? AI's here, not going away. We know that
Nope.
now. It's transformed in the last 6 months, if not sooner. It transforms every day. So how is AI transforming your space, and how are you all keeping up with that?
Yeah. So I'm two sides. Like on the way we run the company, my engineering team is about 1/10 of what it would have been 5 years ago.
Wow.
We're more productive. I have a small engineering and product team that would have been easily 10 times bigger when we were doing the coding ourselves rather than using some of the tools, when the simulations and the testing all had to be done manually, when we can accelerate through a design path on the way to coding. So we're just so fundamentally more productive inside the company. And that translates also into, our customer team and our sales team who leverage the AI, augmenting them to make them better. I think the most interesting part of all of this is it's if like you just got an influx of capital and you didn't have to pay anything for it. You have resources that are working for you that don't really cost you some nominal amount of money, $20 a month. And now it can work like almost like I don't need an assistant, right? A chief of staff. I could just have ChatGPT help me write an interview, write an article, write an email that I would have had to spend a lot of time on in the past. And so we leverage the tools, and the same holds true for our customers, right? We're using this technology to increase the resources we can apply to their challenge, which does it at a lower cost and more productively. And we can average up higher because we can bring the best of the best, which is sometimes hard to find, because it can be, built into the tech that way. So it's really exciting because, a lot of the times we have these conversations, well, what would you do if you had five more people? Like, well, I would get a lot more done. Like, well, you do. You have five more people. It's called AI.
So with the rise of AI, and you just described how AI is becoming more efficient for you, or you would need, like, your team would be bigger if without AI. How important is culture
Mm.
inside of your company?
Yeah. Oh my God. The saying from a long time ago is culture, beats strategy every day. Uh, every time I've had the privilege of running a company, core values matter. First core value for us is respect. Then we are nurturing. We have a lot of positivity, teamwork, and bold. And so every one of those attributes is how we run the place day to day. We're all about empowerment. We don't have hierarchy. We have teams. Today I was talking to my chief technology officer, and he said that one of his developers said they never worked in a place where they had so much latitude and flexibility to build the software the way they wanted to.
Mm.
You know, I have this approach myself that says that I'm not trying to be right. I want to get it right, which means that you have to listen, you have to be open, you have to include and have everyone participate. So we do a lot of things around culture. The Rainmaker brand is fun. When we're using Slack, we'll put a little bit of a rain umbrella as a, make people know that we're happy with what they're doing. We do a lot of promoting from inside. We provide opportunities and nurturing like that. And we're all very approachable. And, work should not be a burden. Work should be a pleasure. We're working on really fun, interesting, hard problems. And if you treat people with respect and give them an opportunity, boy, do they thrive. And then they love what they're doing. So, we want to make it more like being on vacation and going to work.
Oh, I love that. It sounds like so much fun to be with you.
We're going to always do that. Like, because why would we want it any other way? Like, I think
Yeah.
it's sort of interesting. There is a bit of a theme in the world, which is a little bit of selfishness. We live in a world of abundance. We should share more. We don't need that much ourselves. And boy, if you really want to succeed, just give more away and life gets a lot easier.
Yeah, it's interesting. I saw this. I don't know if it was a post or I think it was a post where if we're holding on to something so tight, guess what that's doing? That's closing us off. But
Yeah.
when we're just like you said, giving it and being free, we're open to receiving more.
Yeah.
And that was just such a huge like aha for me. I'm like, oh my gosh, sometimes we're so stressed and we're like we're gripping on to what we have now because we're so afraid to lose it. But when we open up and just release it, it's just like, oh my gosh, we never knew what was out there for us to receive, and like that could be different or even better, or even more of what we're holding on to, you know?
Yeah,
And
you think about yourself. I have the title of the CEO. There's a big responsibility of that job, but I am not that. I'm a curious person. I'm an explorer and an adventurer. I'm a creative. Uh, you know, it gets embodied in a title and a role, but you don't become that because when you become that, then you actually stop being, what you should be, which is, inspired and reaching into potential and doing more than you ever thought you could.
I love what you just said. You said I'm a CEO, but I'm all about curiosity. So I just took CEO and I'm like Chief Executive Officer, and I don't think executive is the right word if
Yeah.
I because I don't know how it goes, but I was like, okay, Curiosity Executive Officer
Yeah.
or Curiosity something officer.
Yeah.
Like you can totally have fun with that.
Totally agree. I'm
Yeah,
always in this mode of like, I just want to know. I love knowing. I love exploring, love seeing, going there,
yeah.
feeling it. Even, I wrote this new book called Living Intentionally. And the whole middle part of the book is about discomfort and suffering because it's a pathway to growth. And so we don't hide from that. We seek it out. We want to feel something different because it makes us be creative. If everything exactly the same, then what do? We don't create anything new. But we
Right.
want to know, will it work? How does it work? What will people think? We put the AI out in the market. We have this thing called an anytime agent, and you can call up and talk to our AI. And I wouldn't say it's perfect, and some people love it and some people don't, but we're learning from it all the time. So yeah, it's this fun time to be alive.
Yeah, I think you just made a really good point. I want you to repeat the name of your book, and we want to tell people how to get it. You just said something really key because I have a client and I talked with them and they were very nervous about adding AI into their sales system. Now they're open to it. But
Hmm.
at the same time, we have to go into it knowing it's not going to be perfect, or just it could be perfect. But if we have the expectation that maybe, you know what, we're going to learn from this, it may not be perfect at the get go. Some people will love it, some people will hate it. I think they're so worried about it not being human. And I'm like, but it's not human.
Right.
If you want human, then let's do human. But if you want efficiency and 90% of it will be good, and you're okay with the 10%, and you're not focused on the 10% that may not be good, but you're willing to learn from that, then it's a win.
Yeah, we'll get it
Right.
to a place where it will be better because it'll be more consistent. It'll understand what the elements are that you need to do to make a decision. I think when we say I want to talk to a human, it's because we don't actually think it's functioning the right way. But a lot of this has happened in our lives. I mean, look, you used to pump gas in your car, right? Well, I have electric. I don't even go to pump gas. But if you were, there's no one doing that anymore. You learned how to do it, you learned how to pay. And now you wouldn't want anyone doing it because you think it's better. Now, yeah, there's probably a few people who want to pay $2 a gallon extra for that. But I think that in the early stage, which we are with AI, there is this hesitancy and there's some apprehension. But we've gone through many, many tech shifts and they only get better. And actually, we had an example this week that was amazing. So we actually have some dog trainers as customers using our platform, and someone called up and got our AI, and the person said, "I don't know what's the matter with my dog." They thought they were talking to the trainer. "I don't know what's the matter with my dog, but it's not breathing or something's going wrong." And our AI said to them, hang up the phone and call your vet. This is an emergency. So our AI knew that. We had never trained it to know that. So they are actually working awfully well and consistently to be able to sense a situation in addition to the normal stuff of helping someone sell. And so, yeah, if someone's a little apprehensive, look, you can still, I don't know, pump your own gas if you really wanted to. But I think that over time, getting better systems to work better for us and make our lives better is always the goal.
Yeah, no, absolutely. So I'd like to talk about visibility. You are in the home services space. So how are you? You
Hmm.
have competition. You're not the only one out there doing what you do. So how are you staying visible in a crowded market amongst the noise? Like what marketing methods are you using that's worked for you, Joe? And maybe share some things that maybe, you tried and you're like,
Yeah.
just didn't work for us.
Interestingly enough, in the small business and franchise space, their owners like to go to trade shows and look for new solutions. So being at events with a booth, a table, or whatever has been amazing. We
Mm.
get so many leads, we have so many great conversations, and we can show people how it works. So that's been our number one lead source. Number two, interestingly enough, both the combination of us being on podcasts, having podcasts, we get a lot of listeners. So your podcast is a beautiful way to do that. Number three, we like to write, we tell stories, we use PR, we like to get out into the press. Um, and then, the last thing is sort of word of mouth has been working for us. What doesn't really work is just paid search for the kind of stuff we do. We're not trying to run banner ads. We're actually very targeted. And so that doesn't really pay off for us.
Yeah. Let's talk about your book. Let's go back to
Yeah,
that because
sure.
I asked you, I wanted you to repeat the name of your book and how we can get it. So let's talk there. Tell us about your book, the name of it, the mission behind it, the purpose of it, and where we can find it.
Yeah, so, I've been, as I told you, in the tech space for 25 plus years, but I've been on also a personal journey around human performance and potential over that 25 years. So I've changed sort of every bit of my life from how I eat to how I live to how I perform. And so I've done, a lot of ultra endurance activities in addition to just being an athletic competitor as well as a writer and a CEO. So I thought it would be important for me to sort of take this 25 years and try and turn it into something people could learn from. So the book is called Living Intentionally. And it was to build out a framework for what intentionality would be, which is bigger than habits and it's bigger than practices. It's about defining your why on your life journey and connecting your why to the pillars of building a strong system in yourself. Those pillars are pretty simple. It's exercise and it's nutrition and it's sleep and it's community, it's mindset. And then I have a framework of being forward with grit, having grace, and being grounded in what you do. So it's a book that actually outlines the foundation of an intentional life, which will make you more productive and actually help you grow personally and professionally. Um, its stories are told as well as examples of what I've been through. You can buy it on Amazon. It's available for sale now in Barnes and Nobles and other places like that. But yeah, I think it's got a good start. I was earlier in the week number one on the bestseller list in a couple of categories. And so
Congratulations.
thanks. And I think that, the feedback has been that, we all sort of have a sense of what we should do. Sometimes we don't know exactly what to do. So this should help people feel good about having agency, taking control, living intentionally, and, sort of leaning into the potential you have and make it into the life you want it to be.
Amazing. So what's your podcast? Tell us about that.
Well, actually, I just recently stopped. It was called Chasing Tomorrow. It was more about the athletic side of my life, but now that I'm back into Rainmaker, we're redoing the podcast platform, and we're going to be coming out with one soon, which will be best practices in selling in small business and in franchises. So stay tuned. That'll be coming out soon. It's always fun to talk to people as you get to know Heidi. This is like a blast to get to do this.
Yeah, absolutely. And so when this podcast comes out, when we're recording it right now, just for you listening, by the time this comes out, it could be launched. So make sure you check out the show notes, because
Yeah,
if it has launched, I'm going to ask Joe to send me that link and we can make sure that we put it in the show notes
yeah,
going
definitely.
forward, so we can help you support the launch of that podcast. I have 2 podcasts. I know what it's like to launch, and we want people definitely be tuning in to what you have to say there. So, question for you: if I could give you a magic wand and you can go poof, Joe, on what, like poof, on one issue that you're having right now, or one challenge, what would that be and why?
Personally or professionally?
Professionally. Well, you can give us both if you want to. If you're open and vulnerable enough for that, we're
I
happy to
think,
listen.
oh yeah, always. I think on the professional side, I think it's about people not being resistant to AI just because. Like, try it, see what it does. Like, you might actually be surprised. Even personally, use ChatGPT and have it help you write an email one day. Like, you're just going to find it to be absolutely compelling. It's a different kind of tech than we've ever had in our lives. So if I could do that and make everyone sort of feel the energy and the positivity that comes from doing that, I think it'd be amazing.
Mm. So you're not getting any kickback on this, but my
Mhm.
question for you, because I know, because I'm throwing this out there, what are some of your favorite AI tools?
Yeah, I think that, the three big platforms, Google has Gemini, Anthropic has Claude, and then OpenAI has ChatGPT. I think that if you're a coder, technical person, I think that Claude is the best. I think if you're just sort of a like regular person like all of us, I think that ChatGPT is fantastic. And I think that Gemini sort of splits the middle a little bit. It's much more Google-esque than not. And so since you can try all of them for free, you should try them and ask the same question of each of them and see what they do for you.
Yeah.
Perplexity is coming up in the rankings because it is a little more conversational and shows you its chain of reasoning thinking. So that's pretty cool to see. But my gosh, any tool that is AI front and first, you should just try it.
Yeah.
A company called 11 Labs that does voice
I just heard
AI.
about that one recently. Some
Yeah.
people, the person I heard, it said it was complicated, but it didn't get their voice because it's supposed to like emulate your voice. But I heard somebody said spend 30 minutes to an hour with it, and you just got to spend a little time on it.
Yeah.
And at the end of the day, 30 minutes to an hour is not a lot of time.
Not if to get something like that to happen at some nominal cost. So
Right.
yeah, it's probably easy to start with ChatGPT,
Right.
but I would try them all and see which is your favorite.
Yeah. I have to say, I've been using Gamma.app, which is
Hmm.
Gamma AI.
For slides.
I
Yeah.
love Gamma.
Yeah.
That has been a game changer for me, because I was using Canva for a lot of my presentations and things, and that's time consuming only because I didn't know how to quickly do it. And I do know how to quickly make a presentation, but it wasn't giving me what I wanted out of it,
Mm.
graphic wise, or branding wise. And then I went to Gamma. Somebody told me about Gamma. They're like, you're taking 3 hours to do a presentation. You can do this in a matter of minutes.
Yeah.
And then you can always spend 30 minutes tweaking it. And
Yep.
that's what I've done. And it's been a game changer for us.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Beautiful.ai is another platform just like Gamma. So
Which
uh,
one?
beautiful.ai.
Okay.
So it's Gamma.app. Yeah, those are great for creating slides.
Yep. If you're looking for presentations. Yeah.
Yeah.
So
There's
you can combine the two. That's the whole point. Like I
Mhm.
go to Chat GBT, and then I take Chat GBT and I put in Gamma, and
Yeah.
boom, I put in a little, parameters, and it puts out a beautiful product.
And you could import Gamma into PowerPoint or Google Slides too, so you can keep
Yeah.
going. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's a fun time to be in tech. It's a fun
Mhm.
time to use and leverage these tools and see where we can go with them.
Yeah, absolutely. So my one of my last questions is, if we could bring, well, okay, so what's next for you all? What are the big goals for the next 12 months?
Yeah. So in November, we're going to release this end-to-end from lead to payments platform that's autonomous. So that should set us up for a massive growth year next year. Our goal is to get somewhere between 5 and 10,000 new customers in 2026. And once we show the world how this works, we think it's going to be on point and people are going to want to buy it because the price point is going to be easy. So that's what's really happening. We're always looking to innovate. We have ideas about 27 and 28. Like this thing will only get better and bigger and make lives easier for small business owners, to be able to get to the kids' soccer game at 5 o'clock and not worry about what's happening in the business. We want to be their partner and make it, the American dream come true.
I love that. Absolutely. I'm a single mom, so anything gets me out by 5, I'm happy about it because I'm
Amen
still
to that.
working past 5. So yeah, building businesses, sometimes you gotta work those extra
I
hours.
know.
So how can people reach out to you, Joe, and learn more about y'all?
Yeah, so Rainmaker, but we're spelled with a Y. So it's RAYNMAKER.ai. So that's our website. You'll see some good stuff. It's going to even get better shortly. We do have an Instagram page. On the personal side, my Instagram and website are the High Performance Life, because that's where I started this whole journey. I wrote a book called that way back when. And then if anyone wants to read my blog, which comes out daily, it's on Substack at Joe Curious. So
I love that you bring the word curious into it. That's so cool.
every day.
And that's what's got you to where you are now. You stay curious. And I think that's important, for those people that want to continue living, then as long as you're staying curious and you're looking for what's next, life has gotten, that golden, what do they call it? The yellow brick road open for you to achieve everything you want to achieve. So Joe, I appreciate you being here. Thank you so much. We have all of Joe's contact information, his bio inside the show notes. So make sure you go there and check it out. If you're driving, don't worry, we got you. It's there. Definitely connect with Joe. Check out Raynmaker. It's with a Y. So RAYNMAKER .ai. Correct, Joe?
Yes.
Yeah.
Perfect.
So make sure you go there, learn more about Raynmaker, learn more about what they can do for you if you're a home-based service company. If you are not, still connect with Joe. He's had years of experience. He's a great guy. I'm sure he'd love to chat with you and see how he can support you. So if you're listening to us or watching us on YouTube, thank you. Joe and I appreciate it. Leave a message for him below, a comment below. Also share this message and Joe and his company and his business and his message with other people who you think could benefit from it. We appreciate your support. There's this button there. It's a button. It says subscribe. Please hit that button. That means that we can ping you for future guests like Joe on the show who are here supporting my mission. So I'm grateful for every one of our guests for their time. They're taking time out of their busy day. Yes, podcasting is important for them, but they're also taking time to share and be part of my mission for this podcast to be helping you grow. The reason we started this is because I saw that there's a huge stat on more businesses failing within the first 5 years. And we want to flip that number. And these guests are here supporting me in that goal. So thank you for that. And if you're listening to us on your favorite podcast platform, there's an opportunity to leave us a review. We prefer 5 stars. Please do that. That allows us, and leave a comment. That allows us to push this episode, or for the podcast platforms to share this episode and our podcast to more people in support of helping more businesses grow. I didn't share this at the beginning, but I do have a gift for y'all. So if you're here this long, thank you. And if you're looking to grow your business and gain more visibility and more eyes and step into the space and become the authority in your space like Joe has in the home service space, he shared with you what's working for them. Feel free to download our Spotlight to Scale blueprint. You can go to spotlighttoscale.com/blueprint. Grab that. That will give you some new ideas, fresh ideas on how to get more visibility on your business and stand out from the crowd. Joe, thank you again for being here. I really appreciate your time. And before we wrap, is there anything that you'd like to say or share that I didn't get to ask you or we didn't touch on today?
No, I think you covered it all, but I always like to leave people with the idea that you can do more than you think you can.
Yeah. I love that so much. You've been such an inspiration. Like you've been willing to just we've had a full-on conversation, which I really enjoyed. And you've been very inspirational in sharing your journey and just some outside the box things. So that means a lot to me. And I know that's going to be supportive for our listeners. So I just want to say thank you. And I appreciate you.
Thanks, Heidi.
Thank you for listening and for being with Joe and I today. And we look forward to seeing you on the next episode.